Hey guys, welcome to Airsoftology Mondays, the show that answers your questions, helps you out in a pinch, and also records in the middle of an ice storm. Yep, that's what's happening right now. In fact, I had a tree fall in my backyard. Didn't hit anything, knock on wood, and also lost a gutter, but we're here. Welcome back. And it is Monday, of course. That means it's Monday show time, which means it's time to answer your questions, talk about what's going on, and show you some stuff that's sitting around my office. In fact, I'm really proud of myself because this weekend I cleaned up the office. It is actually presentable. Almost to the point where I could pan the camera around, but I'm not going to do that because it's still a little junky. But that said, I'm feeling a lot better about this, and I'm looking at my gun collection. I got a lot of AEGs. You guys are asking this question, and I get it quite a bit. 17's the count right now, so I might want to thin the herd a little bit. AEGs, Polar Stars, HPAs, V12. I got a lot of different things, sniper rifles, all that in that pile. I think I like another like 7 to 9 pistols. A lot of those are review guns, but anyway, I digress. So got a lot of stuff going on. Like every week, it's so crazy, and we're getting into the airsoft season. We're starting to pick up here in North America, at least the northern hemisphere of the world, and we're getting close. I think March is when everything kicks off. We're here in kind of mid-February, so I'm kind of getting all my stuff in order and getting set up for the big ops. And for those of you guys asking, yes, the loadout video is coming. I've made some changes. I know, I'm always changing my loadout, but I am changing my plate carrier. I want to show you guys this real quick. This is the new Artemis carrier. I'm going to do a review on it, video, as well as a review in Airsoft Insider. In fact, if you guys didn't know, I write for Airsoft Insider. I'm actually contributing editor for Airsoft Insider magazine. So check out the latest issue. I forget what I did in there. I did an MP7, HK MP7 review from Elite Force / KWA, and a couple other articles too. I'm trying to even remember. It's weird. I write them and then they're out of my head. But I also have something else to mention. If you guys have been following me on Facebook, I've got some big news coming from one of our partners, Airsoft Megastore. Now, what they've been doing is they've been working on something for quite a while. I've known about it, and being a guy in the IT world, I absolutely am incredibly excited they're bringing this to Airsoft. So, without any further ado, this is their new AEG configurator. I know you probably can't see it on the screen here, but I'm going to get a link right here, and I'll have a link down in the description as well. And what you can do there is go and build your AEG from scratch. So what they have right now is a spattering of things. They've got just M4s currently, a few different rail options, links, barrels like that, grips, mags, all the stuff. So you literally build this from the ground up, but they're going to be adding more every like week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. They're going to put more and more and more stuff in here till you can build anything you want. Right now they've got polymer and metal options, both on rails and bodies to fit your budget. I went and kind of build something out here just for fun, and stay tuned. I'm going to be building something with them. I'm going to be doing a project with a build on this. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with these gun configurations, definitely go check the link out once this video is over though. From the IT world, I've always, like, growing up in computers, loved computers and all that, and you could click and build your own custom computer, which I always thought was the coolest thing. And I also wondered, like, why no one would do this in Airsoft. It's such a neat idea. It's worked in the IT world forever. Why not Airsoft? Well, I'm so happy to see Megastore actually did this, and they actually shared it with me so I could share it with you guys. So today's the launch. Go check it out. Link is right down there. It is. And of course, don't forget the G&G contest is still running. You've got a week to get your video question in. And if you guys want to see the rules and regulations, I'll put them right down in the description below. Or watch last week's Monday's video. I'll have a link down there to it. And it's toward the end, I'll actually give you a time code on it to take you to the right spot so you can watch the description of the contest to understand all the rules appropriately. In fact, I'm getting a ton of email submissions, so thank you guys for sending some great stuff in. But enough about all that. It is time, finally, for your questions. 1000M Chief writes, "Sup Airsoftology? If given a high budget, very good insurance, and was told to go make a Milsim game, where would you host it, and what would make yours unique, at least here in the States, in comparison to the other Milsim games?" Super easy. There's actually a huge underground cave system in Kentucky. In fact, there's a company that does zip lines there. I can't think of the name. I'm sure some of you guys who watch are in the Kentucky area around the caves area, so kind of that central Kentucky zone there will know exactly what I'm talking about. But they do like zip lines in there. There's like corporate tours. There's all kinds of stuff. I would host it in a heartbeat in a cave system. I think it'd be the coolest thing. Obviously, given good insurance, because the risk of a cave in Airsoft is like insane. I know, I think First and Only production company has a underground, like I think it was an old factory from World War II. They do in England, and I've always loved the inspiration of that. So absolutely, I would have like this underground battle theme, and I would definitely make it kind of like, you know, come in to clear it out. Maybe they're building like a war machine or something prototype. I don't know. That's kind of like the concept. I mean, let's face it. I mean, airsoft's about shooting each other, right? Going out and having fun and throwing plastic at each other. So I'd find something creative to set the tone on it. But I think the underground thing would be really cool because it'd be low light, some night vision, but even night vision wouldn't work in pitch black in a cave because you still need some ambient light. And then radios would be challenged too if you get separated from your squad. I think it would add just a layer of complexity. So that's what I would do in a second if I had an unlimited budget, really great insurance, and my choice of AOs for a Milsim op. Zyson Fire writes, hey Jonathan, I have a problem with my AK. It shoots left about a foot from the sights at about 100 feet. The sights are not adjustable, and I've tried numerous other things that don't work. Have any suggestions? All right, so if the sights are off and you can't adjust them, obviously make sure your front sight posts on the AK, sometimes they'll get a little tweak, they'll bend, physically bend on some of them, so maybe like straighten it back up. If that's not the case, and you can definitely like have this thing locked down and there's no wind and you're shooting and the BBs are actually going off and you can see them curving at that distance and they're that far off, one thing you want to maybe look into, and I know you said you looked at the hop-up bucking, things like that. I saw some of the other comments underneath your post, is the barrel itself. Don't always assume it's straight. The way they make barrels, and I don't have one around here to show you, but they make them in extremely long runs. The brass inner barrel is made in just these incredibly long, like 20-foot sections in the factory, for the most part. Now the really nice ones, the high-end ones, like Japanese-made ones like Tian, Prometheus, and things like that, are made a little differently. But when you're looking at the brass barrels, they're made in these extruded, in these really long sections, right? So what happens over time, over length, is the weight of them like will bend a little bit. So what'll happen is, depending on where your cut is and if it kind of sags on the rack or maybe it's bowing like this, it will actually put a slight bend in the barrel, and you can deal with that. I mean, and believe it or not, you can have a barrel that doesn't really look bent to your eyes, but actually has a bend to it, and at 100 feet, it'll put that BB a foot off your target. So consider your inner barrel maybe being your issue. If you've worked and you've set that hop up correctly and everything's right inside, it might be the barrel causing the problem. See if you can get a hold of another barrel, if you got one sitting around, a stock one, a buddy's, swap out the whole hop up chamber and see if that fixes your issue. That very well might be the problem, especially if you're talking about a stock brass barrel. Depending on where it was on the rack, sometimes you might get a curved one. Victor Newen writes, hey Jonathan, I've always been wanting to switch to a PTS Centurion Arms C4 CMR rail 9-inch, and I was currently own a KWA CQ Arma 2 that has a Delta ring. What would I have to do in order to switch it over? Thanks, Jonathan. Keep it. All right, so you're looking at the 9-inch version of this guy right here. This is the 7-inch version of the Centurion Arms C4 rail I've got on my PTS electronic recoil gun. So on this one, if you do notice, there is a Delta ring in here, but it's not the ring that you're used to seeing, the full, like the spring-loaded one. You're talking about the plastic handguard. So what you're gonna need to do is do a little dissection work. I can't remember, because this one came with the rail on, so I can't remember if it includes this or not, but you're gonna need this part right here. I'm gonna get really close to the camera. It's got a star on it. So you can disassemble your Delta ring and get this component out. It's got little spikies here on the outside, for lack of better description, and that's the part that's gonna be the Delta ring to hold your rail on. So you can disassemble that whole Delta ring, and there's actually just a spring system in there. You kind of pull the clamp off and it kind of self-destructs, and you'll be able to extract this piece if the rail itself doesn't ship with one. So you're going to be in good luck using that plastic handguard and converting over. It's actually a pretty easy fix, so once you get it off, you can move this back over and you'll be up and running. Michelle Wolf writes, hi. Hi. 92 Knows Airsoft writes, why is it so hard to get a cheap EOTech replica for airsoft use? What would you think of an EOTech brand product made specifically for airsoft with ANSI rated lenses? Well, of late, one thing you may not know is EOTech's really enforcing their copyright rights on the EOTech Holo sites right now. So, in fact, you're going to probably not find them anywhere in the US or most likely even overseas. They're being very aggressive about doing that and shutting down any unauthorized replicas. And it's not just because of airsoft. And I do understand why they're doing this. Obviously, it's an illegal copy of their site, but a lot of people who are kind of shady are taking these and going, no, they're real EOTechs. They're selling them on like eBay and places like that for $300 or $400. And then when you get them, you're like, wait a minute, this obviously isn't it because it's just projected. It's not a real holographic site. And then people try to claim, and then that company's gone. They've disappeared and they've run off with a ton of money. So yeah, I really can't understand why they're doing that and enforcing it, because they need to enforce the brand and the property and the look of their site. As for them making an airsoft only one with an ANSI rated lens, I'm not sure if it's possible because of the way the laser holo projection of how a real EOTech works. I used to have a real EOTech and it's very different than the airsoft one, how it works. So I'm not even sure if it's possible using a different material to make that work, or for them to build any kind of protection on it. So do I see them going into that market and doing it and still being able to make it affordable for airsofters? I seriously doubt it. I mean, their technology is what it is. They're pushing the envelopes. It's designed for real firearms, and they're going to be $350 or whatever they run up. And I just don't see them making something with their name on it that's in the $100 price point. I think they partnered with Bushnell a long time ago and made a Bushnell holo site using the EOTech technology, but I didn't think that even lasted that long. So yeah, probably not gonna happen, and the days of seeing airsoft replicas are probably gone. Kings XJT22 writes, hey, saw there was a new speed loader at SHOT Shows made by Odin Innovations. Do you know when and where you can buy this? Also, do you know the price? So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. It was at the ZShot booth, and it's a box about yay big and about that thick, and it lets you crank, you load the mag on the top and you crank it and it loads your magazine for you. Really neat. It's got a clutch system in there. I like how compact it is. It'll fit in the double mag pouch or like a smaller general purpose pouch. I am working with the Odin, can't even speak today, Odin Innovations guys, and I'm gonna try to get one of their prototypes in here. I'm really excited to get a hold of one. Price, availability, and all that, I'm not sure, but as soon as I get it, you guys will know, and I'll definitely get a video up if I can get one of those here in-house shortly, and we can kind of see how it works. All right, guys, that's it for this week's questions, which means it's time for the video recommendation of the week, and I'm kind of revisiting a channel I really love. I'm glad to see they're doing gameplay. For a while, they were kind of absent of gameplay footage, and it's Hamza of the team Track, TRAC, out of France. And man, I love their stuff. The pacing, the audio, and I know I've like highlighted them in one of the earlier shows we did here on Mondays, but heck, it's show what, 32, I think? This is the 32nd episode. So it's about time to get this back up and running and talk about him again. I just love their stuff. And the team Track also puts out their own videos. So it's not just the team itself, it's also some of the individual players have it. So guys, if you want some really exciting like gameplay footage, there's a lot of like, I don't know, he somehow adds like this like sense of stress and drama to it with the music, the timing and all that. Really well paced, and you just kind of leaves you wanting a little more. Check out Hamza from Track. I'm going to get a link to his channel right down in the description below, and also to this video, which is the current one, which is for Blood Bank, which he's, I think that's where they're playing. They always have the coolest places they play. So yeah, give them a look, and if you guys like what you see there, throw a comment, let him know he came from us over here to check out his channel, and also give him a thumbs up and a subscribe. Well guys, that's it for this week's Monday. Thank you as always for joining me here. Don't forget, we got the G&G contest still running, so stay tuned for it. It's still up and going. Link is in the description to last week's video to show and talk about the rules. And of course, some of the rules are down in the description below as well here. Also, like every week, if you want to get your questions on the show, it's really simple. Just put them in the comment section right down there below, vote up your favorites, and I will get them on the next show. So guys, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next week. But until then, go out, play some airsoft, have some fun, stay away from the ice, but no matter what you do, call your freaking hits.